Hello fellow artists and enjoyers of art, my name is Rich and I go by Comfy Chroma here on YouTube. Before we get started, I'm going to give you a quick rundown of how I'll be presenting the sketchbook. I will be flipping through the sketchbook page by page, but we'll also be splicing in some pictures and or videos that either relate to the page, are a part of the sketching process, the digital version, and even a couple tattoo practice skins where I use the sketchbook painting as a stencil. This sketchbook is made by a brand called Etchr Labs and is a hot press watercolor sketchbook. It's pretty small. It says it's 5.8 inches by 4.1 inches. It's landscape. The mediums I use are ink, watercolor, gouache, and very occasionally colored pencils. I started this sketchbook sometime back in 2020 and finished it towards the end of 2023. Please bear with me for the first couple pages. I was just getting back into art after a few years long hiatus, and the first couple pages are pretty terrible, but they are not representative of the whole. The rest of the paintings are, they get better. With all that out of the way, let's get into the sketchbook tour. The first painting is exactly what I wrote on it, sad. I tried painting a bowl of fruit just from imagination, I didn't use a reference, and yeah, the result was not great. This painting was done with Winsor & Newton Cotman watercolors, and they are student grade watercolor paints. This apple and orange were also done using the Cotman watercolors. The koi fish was done using a handmade brand called Regina's watercolors, and they are pretty cool, vibrant paints. I tried looking them up recently. I don't know if they just took a hiatus or if they're not making them anymore, but were good paints. I think they had honey in them. Would recommend. These two pages were from the beginning of the Domestik course, which is an online art class. The class was taught by an artist called Mattias Olofsson. He makes some really good work. Made a couple album covers for a band called Dance Gavin Dance. Yeah, I got through maybe the first part of the class and realized it was not something I was interested in. So these two pages were about as far as I got in that class. This octopus was the first thing in the sketchbook that I liked and actually put some planning into. I remember just thinking I wanted to paint an octopus, but wanted to make sure that all the tentacles were visible and not cop out on anything. I really struggled getting the look of the eye down on other practice pages, so just left it white for I think months and came back later and added it. The octopus was painted using a brand of watercolors called Kramer Pigments, which I believe are a New York-based brand. For a while, the page on the right was just the worm hanging out by itself, and I came back in later, added the branch, the peaches in the background. I like this one just because it's all from imagination and came out pretty decent and cohesive looking. The only thing I would do differently is maybe not add the line work to the worm, because I enjoyed the look of it more without the lines. The pumpkin was done using the Regina's watercolors, and the mushroom was done like a month or so, several months later, with Schminke watercolors. I also did a tattoo practice skin of the same mushroom, but it did not come out very good. The colors looked real flat and muddy. The skull and dragon pages are for sure one of my favorite spreads in the whole sketchbook. The skull was done from a reference photo, and the dragon is from a YouTube tutorial by an artist named The Broken Puppet. His dragon was more stylized with bolder lines and done digitally, but the tutorial was great for getting the foundation of the dragon down. But I wanted to look traditional-ish. I also like both paintings' backgrounds. The purple behind the skull just kind of makes it pop, and the dragons, I tried to get that paper look to it, which I think I kind of pulled off. I also used the skull as a stencil for another tattoo practice skin, and I really like the outcome of that one. This mushroom painting, I had two things I wanted to accomplish going into it. I wanted to use a reference photo that I thought would be really challenging, and I wanted to do it both digitally and traditionally to see the outcomes and the strengths and weaknesses of each medium. It was easier to get a transparent effect on the droplets of the mushroom with the digital painting, but I still like the overall look of the traditional one. The owl was a quick painting from a reference photo, and one of the few times I tried to use colored pencils on top of the painting, and I just was not able to get a good look with the colored pencils, which is why I've struggled to try and do it since then. This dragon was a very quick sketch that I did on my lunch break at work, and later on in the week I wanted to sit down and paint something real quick, so I did this in one sitting. This moth is a species called a Deathshead moth. Not the scientific name, no idea what that is, but I kind of like this one. I think it gets a little bit lost in the background, doesn't really pop enough. This rose painting, another thing, I went based off of the reference image with the background, and if I were to do it again, I would just use a nice muted background color to make the rose itself pop more, because the rose and the background definitely just blur together a bit too much and it gets real flat. I also brought this rose into Procreate and just messed around a little bit with it, which is what you're seeing here. This painting, for the most part, came out looking kind of how I originally intended it to. I wanted the hand reaching out. For a beaker, I wanted to have kind of a glowing effect on the hand, and I wanted to have some kind of bubbly, toxic looking concoction with eyeballs floating in it, and I ended up scaling it back a little bit, taking the eyeball out and the bubbles and whatnot, just because I was worried about getting a transparent look to the beaker over top of it. I also took this one into Procreate, just kind of messed around with it a little bit, and yeah, like the final result. This painting, out of all the other ones in the sketchbook, probably had the most planning and experimentation before actually going in and doing it. In a completely separate sketchbook, I messed around with the different looks of the planets, the background color I wanted to get. I kind of wanted the planet to look like a swirly marble. I really liked the process of this one with the experimenting and planning ahead of time, and I enjoyed the whole process. This one here, I chose to do a turtle or tortoise with a cartoonishly large head. I just found, a reference image, and I found out while I was painting the tortoise that the reference image that I used was actually an extinct species called a Pinta Island tortoise, and his name was Lonesome George. I accidentally made a caricature of an extinct species, so rest in peace, Lonesome George. I wanted to do something fantasy related and decided that I wanted a frog or toad sitting on a mushroom. I found a reference photo online of somebody sitting a frog on a bench, and that's what I used as the reference. I don't really like the grass or the background too much just because I really rushed it towards the end there, and if I were to do it again, it doesn't really look like the frog is sitting on the mushroom. It looks more like it's kind of floating in front of it, but still a fun piece. I like the whole pipe in his mouth and his little fez hat. This is another one that I like the outcome of. It was a skull reference. I had only done the skull on the bottom of the page and was like, alright, what am I going to do above it? I decided to go with crystals, and yeah, I thought it came out pretty good. If I were to do it again, I'd try and get the crystals to look more transparent, but other than that, I like this one. This one, it's kind of exactly how I planned it. I, wanted to do like a dagger skull, kind of like a tattoo design look to it. And I thought the hardest part was going to be getting the metal of the dagger right, which it was. The funny part is the top part of the dagger was done with watercolor, and the bottom of the tip were done with gouache. That's why the color and the texture is slightly different. And also the gem on top of the dagger was a real pain in the butt. I don't know why. I kept on trying different tests to try and get it to look like a gem. And, I settled with what I got, but I like that one. There's another just really rough, quick sketch. I thought of sushi. Found a couple of reference images, sketched some sushi, and it wasn't very good. I just made it so much worse. I was like, I need something in the background because the two sushis just sitting there looked odd, so I just did yellow in the background, and it just made the whole thing even worse. The Sparrow, it was, again, just a rough, I was like, I'll do a quick tattoo flash looking thing, but I like the way it turned out, especially with that green background. I really like the granulation and the green in the background. This painting I called Nanner Worm. The worm thing is similar to a lot of things I used to draw back in high school. I would do different heads on top of them, but they were all coming out of like desks, or I would do them on a dry erase board. It was just something that I would sketch all the time. But this one I brought into Procreate as well, did a little tuning up, and I like how it came out in Procreate too. Definitely better than the original painting. This is literally just a quick sketch of my hand, and because it was there and I wanted to paint something quickly, went in, painted it. Probably took 5 minutes for the sketch and 20 minutes for the painting, but not great, but it was fun. These are called turnarounds in animation. I was trying to get a better feel for just drawing Mickey since somebody wanted a Mickey Mouse tattoo design. All of these are mixes of gouache, watercolor, and ink, just little bits and pieces of them. That's why the black looks different on all of them and the backgrounds and whatnot. Just messing around with them. A couple more Mickey doodles on the left, and I really like this rose painting. The colors all pop and it just looks overall clean and crisp. I don't usually like granulation in watercolors, it depends, but this one I really like the blue in that background, especially contrasting with the rose itself. This one I just wanted to do a candle, try to get the look of the candle burning in dark, but didn't really turn out too good. This one I actually used a reference photo to try and get the look of the wick and the flame kind of semi-accurate, and it just didn't really come together. This jack-o'-lantern though was a really quick one. I like drawing jack-o'-lanterns. I like the outcome of this one. These are probably my least favorite 2 pages in the sketchbook. These were sketches that I had done while waiting at tire shop as my tires were getting changed, and I just sketched these, and yeah, the owl I don't hate as much, but whatever that flower, if you can call it that, was pretty god-awful. Both this tree and the zombie are also examples of kind of things that I used to draw all the time back in high school. It's how I always used to draw trees. I used to draw a ton of zombies, and I just had fun with these ones. With the tree, again, I tried to use colored pencils on top of it, but definitely preferred it before using them. I think this is the only other time in the sketchbook that I attempted to use colored pencils, and neither times that I tried it did I like the outcome of it. The Centipede was also one of the sketches I had done while waiting in the tire shop. I don't hate it, don't love it. It came out better than I thought it was going to, and I just decided to paint it. And the Mickey Mouse painting here is the final version of the tattoo design that I was working on. And here is the tattoo practice skin of it as well. This cat portrait is definitely the best painting in the sketchbook since it's so photoreal. It's a portrait of my younger brother's cat. Her name, I believe, is Josie. And I'm gonna show you a picture of the cat real quick. See if you can tell which one's the photo and which one's the painting, because you'll blink and you'll miss it. This is just another back of the sketchbook, real quick little sketches. I actually like the peach a bunch, the Nanner not so much, but these are just quick doodles while being bored. And the ink lines above the banana were the whiskers of the dragon from earlier. And then these last 5 pages of the sketchbook are just, you know, swatches, ink tests, and doodles, things you do in the back of sketchbooks.